During his peak in the 2010s, Dolph Ziggler was arguably the most electric and underutilized performer in professional wrestling. A multi-time champion and an athletic wrestler, his ability to steal the show on any given night was undeniable. He possessed every tool required for perennial main event stardom. Yet, in the middle of his success, the opportunity at the very top seemed to vanish. Not with a bang, but with a gradual, puzzling shift and role. There was no consistent run as the guy, just a return to the supporting cast. The story of Dolph Ziggler is one of immense talent, fleeting dominance, and the repeating cycle of near misses that define his legacy. This is the tragic story of Dolph Ziggler. Just a quick reminder before we dive into the video, please smash that like button, leave a comment letting me know what you think, and subscribe so you don't miss any videos. Thanks and enjoy the video. Before he adopted the name of the show-off, Nic Nemeth was a lifelong fan and an amateur wrestling machine. Hailing from Cleveland, Ohio, he excelled on the mat at the age of 12, setting high school records and becoming a 3-time All-MSC champion at Kent State University. He even had an acceptance letter to ASU's law school. Instead of the courtroom, he chose a squared circle. Now imagine if Dolph had become a lawyer. He'd be dropping banger promos in the courtroom. His journey in WWE's developmental system began in 2005. His main roster debut was a bizarre one, an enforcer and caddy for Chavos Guerrero, a famous and quickly forgotten Curvin White golfing gimmick. After that gimmick failed, he was sent back down, only to return as Nikki in the Spirit Squad, a group of 5 male cheerleaders. Nikki! And we are the Spirit Squad! The irony was thick. A legitimate amateur wrestling star was now a member of a male cheerleading squad. Although the group won the World Tag Team Championship and was immediately thrown into a feud with DX, their true purpose was simply to act as a jobber faction for the established superstars. Nemeth was reduced to a bumping body for Triple H and Shawn Michaels, establishing a frustrating early pattern. He was always a crucial talent, yet a disposable piece for someone else's larger story. His pure raw in-ring ability, honed and developmental, was always apparent, but the main roster creative simply had no consistent place for it. In September 2008, Nikki returned for the 3rd time, reintroducing himself as Dolph Ziggler, marking the true launch of his solo career. After a minor setback due to a 30-day suspension for violating the wellness policy, Ziggler adopted a character that worked perfectly, an arrogant pest who constantly reminded other superstars who he was. Dolph Ziggler. His undeniable charisma made this ridiculous gimmick effective, quickly generating heel heat. A draft to SmackDown in 2009 brought him real success. He adopted the sleeper hold as his signature submission, and began a memorable feud with Rey Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. This feud immediately cemented Ziggler as a masterful seller, a performer who could absorb punishment and make his opponent look like a world beater. To amplify his heel status, WWE paired him with the notorious Vickie Guerrero. Under her guidance, Ziggler captured the Intercontinental Championship and later earned a shot against the World Heavyweight Champion Edge. Vickie, serving as the acting GM, had banned Edge's signature move, the spear, as a condition of their match. In a famously strange angle, Ziggler was ultimately awarded the World Heavyweight Championship after Edge was stripped of it for using the banned move. The celebration, however, was brief. On that very same night, Ziggler was forced to defend the title and lost it back to Edge. His first reign as a world champ lasted less than 1 day. After moving to Raw, he captured the United States Championship on the June 13th episode by defeating Kofi Kingston. This was a huge step up, and he began a respectable 182-day reign. His standout performance earned him the Wrestling Observer Most Underrated and Most Improved award. When he eventually lost the US title to the surging Zack Ryder, Ziggler played the perfect heel, elevating Ryder's emotional, hard-earned victory. The pattern emerged again. Success in the mid-card led to a main event opportunity, challenging the reigning CM Punk. He lost, but the message was clear. Dolph Ziggler was a go-to guy who could deliver an outstanding match, even when the outcome was certain. Ziggler's time finally arrived on the line when he won the Money in the Bank contract in 2012. He waited his time engaging in high-profile feuds with Chris Jericho and John Cena, and gaining the controversial support of AJ Lee and Big E as his bodyguard. The long-awaited moment, which fans chanted for at WrestleMania 29, exploded the very next night on Monday Night Raw. Ziggler strode to the ring, briefcase in hand, to what is still regarded as one of the loudest crowd reactions in modern WWE history. He cashed in on the vulnerable Alberto Del Rio, and after a competitive, tense match where Ziggler sold the desperation preparation perfectly, he finally secured a pinfall and became the World Heavyweight Champion. This was a title he truly earned, and the crowd celebrated a moment they had willed into existence. But the dream run was instantly derailed. Shortly after the victory, Dolph suffered a concussion during a match with Jack Swagger. This injury forced him out of action and was a circumstantial event that caused WWE to pull back on Ziggler's future. At the Payback pay-per-view, Ziggler dropped the title back to Del Rio, who brutally exploited the injury by targeting Ziggler's head. Although the match resulted in a double turn, with the crowd fully embracing the newly babyface Ziggler, his main event momentum was truly over. Just 69 days after one of the most electric cash-ins in history, Dolph Ziggler's run as world champion was over, never to be repeated. Ziggler's relationship with management likely played a subtle role in his recurring stop-start push. According to WWE Hall of Famer and producer Arn Anderson, Ziggler was a wrestler who had an opinion and he would voice it. When he disagreed with the booking decision, he was not afraid to speak up, even if he was in guerrilla. Anderson acknowledged that Ziggler was right most of the time and always gave 100% in the ring. However, this lack of blind devotion may have costed him the consistent main event spot that others with less talent but more compliance achieved. Despite any backstage drama, Ziggler continued to be a natural favorite, and the audience support reached its height in late 2014 at Survivor Series. In a match to determine the fate of the Authority, Ziggler was the last man standing for Team Cena against overwhelming odds. He overcame Luke Harper and Kane, and with the shocking debut help of the Icon Sting, Ziggler pinned Seth Rollins to become the sole survivor and the winner of the entire event. It was an undeniable star-making moment. John Cena himself stepped into the ring and raised Ziggler's hand, a sign that maybe finally things were changing. But that momentum was gone almost as quickly as it arrived. The Intercontinental Championship slipped away, and with it, his main event push. The cycle repeated one last time, a flash of glory followed by a familiar tragic fade. Ziggler settled into his tragic destiny as the essential gatekeeper, the man who guaranteed a good match and a strong reaction but would never main event a pay-per-view. By 2016, his on-screen career frustration became the fuel for one of the year's best storylines against his longtime friend, The Miz. The Miz preyed upon Ziggler's desperation, raising the stakes for their Intercontinental Championship match at No Mercy to a title versus career match. In a perfectly paced, highly emotional conquest, Ziggler fought not just The Miz, but the ghost of the past. He overcame every odd and won the championship. This redemptive victory was a masterclass in emotional storytelling, proving that Ziggler's talent was never in question, only his opportunities. Later, he would align with Drew McIntyre in 2018, leading a stable and briefly winning the Raw Tag Team Championship, proving he still had value as a top-tier anchor. His bloody personal feud with Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship directly channeled Ziggler's real-life bitterness, emphasizing the theme,
"It should be me."
In his later WWE years, he took on a unique utility role, winning the NXT Championship in 2022 to give legitimacy to the rebranded NXT 2.0. He remained to the very end the most dependable performer, just one step below the main event. When Dolph Ziggler was released by WWE in September 2023, he didn't just exit. He finally closed the chapter on the ultimate what-if case and immediately set out to prove what he could do with absolute creative control. This was not a slow rebuilding process. It was an instant success. Wrestling under his real name, Nic Nemeth, he achieved a level of global main event consistency and championship dominance that had been so cruelly denied to his previous character for nearly 2 decades. Nemeth established himself as a triple threat champion, competing on 3 continents in rapid succession. His arrival in Japan saw him quickly defeat David Finlay to capture the prestigious IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling. His dominance then moved to Mexico, but with a significant twist of fate. At Triple Mania 32, Nick conquered the AAA Mega Championship by defeating a familiar foe, Alberto El Patron. This victory was significant, as Alberto was a man Nick had cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase on to win the World Heavyweight Championship over a decade earlier. And Patron was also the man who took the title back when Nemeth was sidelined with a concussion. By defeating Patron for a major world title in Mexico, Nemeth didn't just win gold. He settled an 11-year score, successfully conquering a major Latin American promotion. This momentum culminated in his return to TNA.
Nic Nemeth is in TNA!
Nemeth reached the absolute pinnacle of the company, winning the TNA World Championship at Slammiversary 2024. His reign wasn't just symbolic. He successfully defended the title for a dominant 183 days, lending immediate credibility and star power to the company main event scene. To solidify his new legacy, he later secured the TNA World Tag Team Championships alongside his brother, Ryan Nemeth. In just over a year since his WWE departure, Nic Nemeth proved that the problem was never the talent, it was the system. He finally constructed the consistent multi-continental championship legacy that the Dolph Ziggler character was never allowed to achieve. Not many stars have shined as brightly in the ring as Ziggler did during his WWE peak. He was, without question, one of the top in-ring performers of his era. However, his career leaves fans with a complex, bittersweet realization. Dolph Ziggler was arguably too good at his job. His incredible ability to sell, elevate his opponents, and make mid-card titles feel crucial simply meant that he was too valuable for WWE to risk losing him to another company. The story of Dolph Ziggler remains one of wrestling's biggest what-if cases. A question that was only truly answered when he walked away and found consistent championship glory as Nic Nemeth. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next video.